My name is Nick Huff Barili. I'm probably most well known for the YouTube channel Hard Knock TV, which I started 15 years ago. I grew up in a small town called Mar del Plata in Argentina. I lived there with my grandparents until I was 6. And then I moved in with my mom in Buenos Aires for a couple of years before we both came to the United States. Getting to the Bay Area was definitely a cultural shock because I didn't speak the language. I went to Malcolm X Elementary School. There was people from all different backgrounds. You had people who spoke like 7 different languages all in one room trying to figure out how to communicate with each other. Hip hop was kind of like that unifying factor. As I got older, I got into more like the underground Bay Area scene. A lot of the independent artists in the Bay Area kind of hustled to create their own careers and not be reliant on somebody telling them that they're worth it or that their music is good enough or whatever. I think really inspired me at a young age. When I found out that at 18 I became deportable and disconnected from my mom's visa, I looked up an apprenticeship program at a local radio station called KPFA that was specifically geared towards communities that had been marginalized from mainstream media. I started working for a show called Hard Knock Radio. Through Hard Knock Radio, I got to learn a lot about activism and hip hop. Through having Hard Knock Radio, I started to think about creating a TV show. And I took that show to Hollywood. Hollywood told me that there was no place for in-depth conversations in hip hop at the time. They wanted me to do a show that had women and cars and all this different stuff. And I was like, oh man, you guys are just regurgitating the same stereotypes over and over again. I kind of just surveyed the landscape and I was like, I want to do this. Hollywood's telling me no, where can I go? And at the time, this was back in 2005, YouTube was predominantly cats and dogs videos. There wasn't really any kind of, substance on the platform. At first, it was just gonna put a couple clips on YouTube to hopefully, build enough buzz to then go back to Hollywood. But then, for a while on YouTube, things were going really well and there wasn't a need to go to Hollywood. Through the 15 years, we've been really fortunate to have conversations with artists, I think at important moments in their career. We were Nipsey Hussle's first interview back in the days. Kendrick Lamar, a year before Good Kid, Mad City came out. We got to interview J. Cole 3 or 4 times. Being connected to an artist earlier in their career is really special to me because that's when you get to see kind of like their formative years. And that's when not everyone is trying to get an interview with them. I interviewed the rap artist Lecrae, and he had just written a piece about race in America. And I thought it was a very important topic to have a conversation about.
So if you grew up around police officers and it was all positive experiences, it's hard for you to imagine that there could be corruption.
And he talked about Colin Kaepernick. This is when Colin Kaepernick was seen as someone who was betraying our country in some way because he chose to kneel during the anthem. YouTube at the time was starting to flag videos that they deemed inappropriate for advertisement. The video got flagged along with, I think at the time, 75 videos that I had put up. What it means to demonetize a video is that you can no longer earn revenue from that content. And as a content creator who lives by the revenue that they make on YouTube, that is a form of censorship. What's really frustrating is that while these companies are profiting off our culture and they're using our intellectual property, they're using all these viral moments that are created by people who don't get to monetize these moments. It's not a reciprocated relationship. It's an exploitative relationship. YouTube right now, they obviously want to make advertisers happy and they want to make the most money possible. And I think what originated as an outlet for independent creators to really flourish now is facing some challenges, particularly for creators of color. We need to have conversations that might be uncomfortable for them. Unfortunately, when you have gatekeepers that aren't from our communities and don't understand what's valuable to our communities, we're gonna keep getting content filtered through what they deem to be sellable to our communities. The power of media creates the ideology at the end of the day. And if the independent content creators don't have a stake in shaping that then our communities are going to be the ones that end up losing the most.